What if I told you the Blue Jays are one phone call away from fixing their biggest weakness before spring training starts in a few weeks? While everyone's focused on the big names and the massive contracts, there's a proven veteran sitting in free agency who could be the exact piece Toronto needs to get back to the World Series. Look, last season's Game 7 loss to the Dodgers still stings. The Blue Jays were right there, one game away from winning it all, and they came up just short. That kind of heartbreak either destroys a team or fuels them for the next season. Toronto's shown they're ready to run it back. But here's the thing. They need to be smarter this time around. The offseason has been wild for the Blue Jays. Dylan Cease and Kazuma Okamoto were massive additions that got the fan base buzzing. These guys bring legitimate star power and production. But let's be honest about what happened with Kyle Tucker. That was the big fish they wanted, the game-changing outfielder who could have put them over the top. Instead, he chose the bright lights of Los Angeles, and Toronto had to watch another superstar pick a different destination. It's become a familiar story for Canadian baseball fans, and it's getting old. But here's where things get interesting. While everyone's obsessing over the Tucker miss and debating whether the Blue Jays did enough to land him, they're missing what could actually make or break this season: the bullpen, specifically the left side of it. Toronto has a glaring hole when it comes to reliable left-handed relief pitching, and in today's game where matchups matter more than ever, that's a problem you can't ignore. Right now, the Blue Jays are rolling with Brendan Little, Mason Fluharty, and swingman Eric Lauer as their main lefty options out of the pen. Little's got potential, but he's still developing. Fluharty's fine in certain spots, but asking him to be your shutdown lefty specialist is probably asking too much. And Lauer's valuable precisely because he can swing between starting and relieving, which means you can't always count on him being available in crucial late-game situations. This is where Danny Coulombe enters the picture, and before you dismiss this as just another veteran signing that doesn't move the needle, hear me out. Coulombe isn't flashy. He's not going to sell jerseys or get fans rushing to buy tickets. At 36 years old, he's not the future of anything. But what he is exactly what Toronto needs right now. The numbers tell a compelling story. Last season, split between Minnesota and Texas, Coulombe put up a 2.30 ERA across 55 appearances. That's legitimately elite production from a reliever. His 1.16 whip shows he's not giving up a ton of base runners, and here's the kicker: 2 saves, 9 holds, and 0 blown saves. Read that again. 0 blown saves. When he was asked to protect a lead or keep the game close, he did his job every single time. But the real value Coulombe brings is what he does against left-handed hitters. Over his entire major league career, he's held lefties to a .233 batting average and a .596 OPS. Those aren't just good numbers, they're shutdown numbers. In today's game where managers are constantly playing matchups, especially in October, having a guy who can neutralize the other team's best left-handed bat is worth its weight in gold. Think about how many games last season came down to 1 or 2 at-bats. Think about how many times the Blue Jays needed just 1 out against a tough lefty and didn't have the perfect guy to bring in. Coulombe solves that problem immediately. He's not a project, he's not a risk, he's a proven commodity who knows exactly what his role is and executes it at a high level. The experience factor matters too, and I don't think people are weighing this enough. Toronto's window is open right now. Not in 2 years, not in 5 years, right now. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette are in their primes. The roster is constructed to win immediately. When you're in that position, having veterans who've been through the grind, who've pitched in high-leverage situations, who know how to handle the pressure of a pennant race, that's invaluable. Coulombe's been around. He's pitched for multiple organizations. He's seen different coaching styles. He's worked with different catchers and different game plans. That kind of institutional knowledge helps younger pitchers develop faster. Having him in the clubhouse working with guys like Little and Fluharty could accelerate their growth in ways that matter come September and October. The financial side makes sense too. We're not talking about breaking the bank here. Coulombe's not getting a massive multi-year deal at his age. This is the type of signing that might cost a couple million over 1 or 2 years, money that's essentially a rounding error for a team with championship aspirations. The risk-reward ratio is heavily tilted toward reward. Now, some people might wonder if Toronto's done making moves. They've already brought in Cease and Okamoto. They took their shot at Tucker. Maybe the front office feels like they've addressed enough areas and they're ready to roll with what they've got. But that would be a mistake. Championship rosters aren't built just on big splashes. They're built on finding value in places other teams overlook, on identifying specific needs and filling them with the right players, not just the most famous ones. The Blue Jays bullpen was inconsistent at times last season. There were stretches where they were dominant, but there were also moments where they couldn't hold leads or keep games close. In a 7-game World Series where every single pitch matters, you need depth. You need options. You need specialists who excel in their specific role. Spring training opens in a few weeks, and once pitchers and catchers report, the roster is basically set. Free agency options dry up fast once camps open because teams commit to the guys they've got. If Toronto wants Coulomb, they need to move now. This isn't a situation where they can afford to wait and see what else becomes available, because guys like Coulomb won't stay on the market forever. Some team looking for exactly what he provides is going to grab him. The blueprint for winning in October requires having multiple